if you try to stay away from negativity or ranting on the internet, on YouTube, you probably best click away from this video. Hit subscribe, because I don't rarely do upset or angry videos, but this one pissed me off. Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Wwe McQuaid, and today we are talking about SummerSlam 2023. My God, we'll dive into this soon. A bit lost for words. This is my review where I go through every match, every angle, everything that happened on the show. But before we do that, please hit subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below as we talk about WWE's SummerSlam 2023. The worst show, I think, hands down for me, of the Triple H regime. Probably the worst premium live event that I can remember in a goddamn while. I thought this was nearly unbearable at points, and one of the most boring, monotonous, tedious shows that I have seen in a while. Probably since All Out last year was a show been this long and this unfounded in its length. And yeah, I did not enjoy this one in the slightest. So we're going to dive into the matches, we're going to dive into the rundown. Kid Rock was in a video package all summer long. That's the only Kid Rock song that I know, and he wasn't even talking over that song. It was a cool enough video package hyping up Detroit. And then we got the opening match, which was Logan Paul taking on Ricochet for custody of Samantha Irvin. I'm joking, she was there though. This I thought was good, but what I want to get out there straight away is that I had very high expectations for this show. Looking at the card, I was like, this is going to be banging. But it was not. It was not. I think this Logan Paul and Ricochet match, while good, did not deliver anything anywhere near the thrills that I was expecting from these two. They have tried so hard to recapture the Royal Rumble springboard clothesline moment, and they just can't seem to do it. I appreciated a lot of stuff they did in this match. I thought it was a bit boring in the beginning. There were lots of rest holds from Logan Paul, but when it sort of kicked up a little bit and they did moves like the buckshot lariat to the outside, which did kind of go awry when they did the Spanish fly from the apron, landed on their feet, did go a little bit awry. I thought it was good, but at the same time, I think they didn't play into the story enough involving Samantha Irvin. I think it would have been really just more interesting to get her involved in this story. She's sat right there ringside. It's like at the end. So at the end, Logan Paul wins. He clocks Ricochet with the brass knuckles handed to him by one of his entourage. Gets the win, and then he asks Samantha Irvin to announce him after she's already announced him as the winner, and she doesn't, and he just goes, it's fine. I think they really could have played into the Samantha Irvin element of this a lot more. I think there was more that could be done, and overall, I preferred the Seth Rollins match to this one. I think this was just fine. This was absolutely fine wrestling on the second biggest show of the year. So forgive me for having high expectations for this one. Then we got Cody Rhodes taking on Brock Lesnar in their third encounter in a match that I think I am going to be in the minority on this. A match that I absolutely hated getting close. I really did not enjoy Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. I think the video package is all that needs to be said about this match. It's Brock Lesnar beating up Cody, and Cody talks a little bit. There's not a lot of story. This is all just done because people say that Cody didn't have enough adversity, and here you go, here's Brock Lesnar, here's your adversity, have him 3 times and win the first one, and then come back and win the third one. It was so boring. I get it was supposed to recreate the John Cena Brock Lesnar SummerSlam match, but my God, it went on for ages. It went on for ages. The amount of count-out spots, near count-out spots in the middle of this match was unforgivable. I think the easiest way to turn that around was you do, say, 3, where he keeps getting back in at 9, have Brock beat him up for 2 seconds, hit a German suplex, he rolls to the outside, ref counts 1, Cody immediately stands up, no-sells it, gets in Brock's face, then you fire up the crowd, you do that big no-sell, the kind of thing that Kenny Omega did when he kicked out of the One-Winged Angel against Will Ospreay. Instead, this was just so slow, and then Cody hits Brock with the steel steps right in front of the ref and doesn't get disqualified. How does that make sense? It's the same way he was using the cast in the last one. I'm like, pretty sure that's a weapon. He used the steps in this. And then it just went on and on. Kimura spot. Cody gets the Kimura in. And it looks like Brock's about to tap. But Cody hits a very, very nice Cody cutter. He hits a very nice Cody cutter from the top rope. And then he hits 3 crossroads and wins. And Brock raises his hand at the end. Why? Why on earth would Brock raise the hand of Cody Rhodes in this situation after beating him up backstage, breaking his arm with a barrel, making him pass out in the last match? How does that make any sense? This is volatile hatred. Why would he all of a sudden have this change of heart after a match just because Cody kept getting up? It didn't sit well with me at all. And I really hated this match. I really did. I think I'm in the minority, but we'll leave it at that. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about this ever again. Then we got the LA Knight Battle Royal, or should I say the Slim Jim Battle Royal, but we all know this Battle Royal was put in place to get LA Knight on the card so LA Knight can have a big win, because they don't want to push LA Knight for some reason, and they needed him on there because he is easily the most over thing in the entire company. And this was a fun Battle Royal. I enjoyed this for what it was. It made me very sad to see Apollo Crews and JD McDonough just get yeeted out of the ring by Moss right at the beginning. And so much for JD McDonough and Judgment Day. It doesn't look like that's happening, because he was the second person eliminated from this Battle Royal. And seeing my NXT favourites did break my heart a little bit, like your Shinsuke Nakamura's, like your Ciampas, all just getting unceremoniously thrown out of the ring. I can't even remember Pete Dunne being eliminated, but he was in there. And this eventually came down to Karrion Kross feuding with AJ Styles still, which feels like that's been going on for ages. He eliminated AJ Styles after he'd already been eliminated, and so it came down to Sheamus and LA Knight. Those two had a match on SmackDown the previous night, and LA Knight won. Of course he did. He got Sheamus out of the ring, because you need LA Knight to get that massive pop. He was easily the most over thing on this entire show. Why aren't you pushing this man to the moon? He should easily just... I don't think anyone would care if LA Knight switched brands and beat Seth Rollins. Just do it. Just do it at this point, because you're not doing much with Seth character-wise. You may as well just give it to LA Knight. So it was a fun Battle Royal, but I think it shows how over LA Knight is and their unwillingness to push him to the moon. I am coming across as very, very ranty today. I do apologise. And it's not going to get much better, because next we had Ronda Rousey taking on Shayna Baszler in an MMA rules match. MMA. Air quotes. Best video package of the night. These two told a fantastic story through these video packages and made this one of the matches I was most invested in. It's such a shame, though, that it was hampered by the MMA rules. Now, as far as worked MMA looks, obviously my mind immediately goes to Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar, which was the dirt worst. Jake Hager versus Wardlow in the cage, which was the dirt worst. I think this is the best worked MMA has looked, mainly because they sort of just hit each other, particularly Ronda's flying knee, which looked very nasty and probably very much hurt Shayna Baszler's face. But I think it worked in that regard. The crowd weren't into it whatsoever, because they've obviously paid to see a wrestling show. And yeah, not much else happened. It was lots of grappling. There wasn't much. There was a few strikes, some, like I said, the knee to the face of Shayna, some kicks to the leg for Ronda. But it eventually just came down to technical wizardry, and Shayna got the Kirifuna clutch in, and yeah, made Ronda not tap. She passed out. She's never tapped out. She passed out. This was fine. This was absolutely fine. And if we get Shayna versus Rhea, that's good. Ronda's on her way out, seemingly. So we'll see where this goes. But I didn't hate this as much as other people did, which is weird from how I'm coming across on this show. But yeah, this was totally fine. Then we got the Intercontinental Championship match with Drew McIntyre taking on Gunther. I thought this was not as good as their WrestleMania match. I thought this easily had a few more minutes left in the tank. As soon as the finish happened, I was left with a bit of, oh, okay. I thought we were just kicking into the next gear. It was really good. Lots of hard-hitting strikes. Drew looked awesome. He hit a stunning Claymore on Gunther. But this really felt like it was just kicking into that final gear when the match ended. If Drew had kicked out of the splash and the powerbomb and the clothesline, I think it would have sent the crowd into a frenzy, and you would have got a few more minutes of just stiff strikes, dodging finishes, and it really would have pushed the match into the next gear. You take 5 minutes off the Cody match and you put it on here. I think this is a winner of a match and an absolute banger. It's not as good as Gunther Sheamus. It's not as good as Gunther Sheamus McIntyre. It was okay. This was an okay Intercontinental Championship match that was really stepping up to be great, but then was cut short because of time constraints or however the match was constructed. It really needed a few more minutes, but this was one of the ones that I was looking forward to the most and potentially underwhelmed me the most. So, yeah, I want to see a rematch. I think they could do wonders with a rematch given enough time. But yeah, hampered by time constraints this one, and I wanted more. I wanted more from this. Same with the Riddle match at Money in the Bank. I wanted just a little bit more from these Gunther matches. They're just a little bit too short. They need a few more minutes added on to them. And I know this was a long show, but if you're cutting time, you've got a main event you can cut time from, and you've got a Cody match you can cut time from. So you could have easily added some time onto these matches. Next up, we got the match for the World Heavyweight Championship as Seth Rollins defended his belt against Finn Balor. This was probably my match of the night. This was the one that I enjoyed the most. I think it was leaps and bounds above their Money in the Bank match. I think this is really, really good. But I just find Seth as a character at the moment so bland, so boring that he doesn't interest me doesn't interest me. He doesn't interest me as a champion. Whereas Finn absolutely does, and I think they made the absolute wrong call on the finish for this match of having it sow more seeds of dissension within the Judgment Day. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you want to be breaking the Judgment Day up. If anything, I think you want them to get stronger, because why? There's no need for it. They're so good as a cohesive unit, and the prospect of having Damian Priest holding the Money in the Bank while Finn is champion is something we've never seen before, and it's such an interesting prospect. So what happened at the end of this match? Damian Priest came down with his Money in the Bank contract, and he's trying to help Finn, which makes it even more weird that Finn doesn't, appreciate that and use the briefcase, because it's clear as day what Priest is saying. He's like, use this, but Finn doesn't, and that's weird. That's weird. He had ample opportunities to beat Seth Rollins, but he didn't. So I don't know if they're turning him slowly phasing him out of the Judgment Day. I think that's a bad idea. But what eventually happened was Dom and Rhea come down. They're helping to distract Seth. They get taken out by Seth. Seth beats pretty much the entire Judgment Day in this match. He takes out Priest with a diving clothesline to the outside. He hits Dom with, I think, a pedigree. I think he hit the pedigree, or he hit a stomp or a pedigree on the outside. Then he goes into Finn. Finn hits Sling Blade and drop kick, and Priest slides his Money in the Bank briefcase in, and like an absolute idiot, Finn takes so long picking it up that he gets curb stomped onto the briefcase, and Seth picks up the win. Bad finish right here. Absolute the dirt worst. I was not a fan of this finish in the slightest, and it really dampened a enjoyable match. I thought this was the best match they've had in years, and it was ruined by a terrible finish. Damian Priest's face at the end, though, was very much appreciated. He looked so done with the situation, which is funny. And I'm so done with Seth as champ, so we're both in the same boat, Priest. It is what it is. Then we got the match for the WWE Women's Championship, which was Asuka defending her title against Bianca Bellaire and Charlotte. Fans were not into this match at all. I thought this was really good. I can't remember a lot of spots from it though, other than Bianca's really insane 450, which was a thing of BEAUT, but there was nothing sort of to latch onto for this other than the title win. I thought this was it was good. It was good wrestling, but at the same time, there was nothing memorable. Nothing memorable in the slightest for me in this match. I thought I don't know what else to say. I do not know what else to say about this match. I think the women were underserved on this card. They were hampered with an MMA stip and then sort of bridging the gap between the two World Championship matches. So I don't think they had a good shot here. Bianca winning was good. And hopefully this fuels her heel character, because what happened next was Io Sky came down, cashed in her Money in the Bank, and is the new WWE Women's Champion. So I really like that Bianca has a terrible time at SummerSlams. She's lost to Becky. She has now had this. She has very short matches at SummerSlams, and if they can make that a running gag, that'd be quite interesting. But I'm very, very here for Io Sky as Women's Champion. That's fantastic. I hope she has bangers with Asuka, with hopefully not Bianca, because we've seen that a lot. Hopefully with Charlotte and some of the Shotzi, Bayley. There's so many women on the SmackDown roster that can vie for Io Sky's title, and I hope she has a good long range. She's not just a transitional champ, kind of like Liv Morgan was and Nikki ASH were when they cashed in their Money in the Bank contract. But this match was absolutely fine with a really good cash in, so props there. And then we got the main event. We had Tribal Combat. Roman Reigns defended his WWE Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship against Jey Uso in a match that I hated. I think this was one of the worst main events I've seen in a while, in a long old time. Because the hype surrounding it, you've got Tribal Combat, you've got the Tribal Chief title on the line, the new head of the table, and this was just a no DQ match. It was just a plunder match, and it followed the exact same Bloodline formula. If you've been watching my reviews for a while, you will know that I'm not a fan of the Bloodline formula anymore, because it's all the bloody same every time. The only difference here is they didn't have to knock a ref out to do all the interference spots. I don't get how they're getting away with copy and paste finishes and just boring. It's just boring. It was so long. This match was so long and so tedious, including entrances and stuff like that, that I was just bored out of my goddamn mind watching this, because it's every Roman Reigns match that I have ever seen. It didn't feel like it had the emotion behind it that you would think, rekindling this feud from the pandemic. It was just a no DQ match with Solo interfering, a bit of miscommunication from Roman and Solo, very close near fall for Jey, and then a twist at the end, which I think is it unanimously hated? I think it might be unanimously hated, of Jimmy turning on Jey. I'm not here for it. I'm really not. It's made the last few months of Jimmy breaking Jey out of the bloodline feel redundant and pointless, because now what jealousy is what's fueling Jimmy? Jealousy? I refuse to believe that Jimmy is so jealous that he would ruin Jey's chance, that he'd basically let Roman win. All the hatred that is spewed from Jimmy, he would not let Roman Reigns win and beat his brother. I refuse to believe that would happen whatsoever. And it's completely nuked the fridge, completely jumped the shark, and they're going to have to do some work to get me back invested in this, because I just thought it was a crap ending, a really crap ending, a bad main event, and I don't know what else to say. One of the most disappointing shows, disappointing endings, disappointing heel turns I have seen in years potentially. But that's the end of the show. That is the end of the show. We're now going into a world where potentially Roman's taking some time off, and we're going to be getting Jimmy and Jay feuding. I think you're going to get the Bloodline 4-way at maybe at Payback, maybe Fastlane, or maybe even just do it at Survivor Series. But yeah, this was an absolute slog of a show for me, and one of the most disappointing premium live events I've seen in ages. Overall, I'd give it a solid 2 out of 5. So disappointed with this. And I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Did you like this? Did you hate it? Let me know everything you want down in the comments below, and I'll try and apply to every single one of you. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.